Hey, my puppy people, it's Cindy, and I want to talk about getting away from food as a reinforcer. Is one thing that I hear all the time is, yeah, treat training is great, but my dog only does it if I have treats. Well, there's 3 steps to getting away from treat dependency for you and for your dog. So let's get into it. So 3 steps to get away from treat dependency. But first of all, I want to talk about why we use treats. I hear trainers all the time, oh, it's just a bribe, you shouldn't be bribing your dog, and all this other stuff. Well, there's a difference between bribing your dog and positive reinforcement. And if your trainer doesn't know the difference between a bribe and positive reinforcement, quite honestly, it's time to find another trainer. I know I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here, but it is a big trigger for me. Positive reinforcement is such a powerful tool. The power of positive. It is effective with all species, but it is about the timing, which is the difference between positive reinforcement and a bribe. So there is definitely a difference, and your trainer should know the difference and be able to guide you through the difference. But I think if we are not using treats as a reward or part of our reward system, you're making it more complicated than it has to be. You're adding more time, more difficulty. Why do we use food? Because it works. That's why we use food. There's a little bird outside, and Reggie has to guard me from that little bird, I suppose. Huh? Or he wants to play with the little bird, I don't know. But it works, so let's use it. I am all about doing what's going to be quick, concise, and most effective. Fast and easy and effective. That's my philosophy. And food, 9 times out of 10, that's what your dog wants most. So let's use it. Let's make them work for it. Let's add that into the reward system. But the problem with food is also the reason that we use it. The problem with food is it works. It's fast, efficient, and it's easy. And it gets the response that we want. So what happens for us humans is we start to use it as a crutch. And that's where it becomes a problem. Where we fall into the trap of always showing the dog the food. And then it becomes a bribe. So there are definite distinctions, and those of you that have done training with me, we do deep dives on this. It's all about the timing, how you're using it, when you're using it, etc. But food works, so let's use it. But we don't want to get stuck using it. And there's 3 distinct ways to get away from it. And I think honestly that kind of before you even start on those 3 steps, it's that mindset of the food isn't the end game. The food is just like training wheels. Or, I don't know. And it's something similar to training wheels. Till your dog gets to know this. And how we get away from it, step number 1, you hear me say this all the time, is pair a secondary reinforcer, something that takes on the meaning of the food. Second step is sequencing, asking them to do more for less, differential reinforcement, all that goes along with that. And then the third step is, not showing them the food. Because if you show them the food, then it becomes a bribe. So the problem with the food is it becomes a crutch for us. And we humans get stuck using it more than the dogs get stuck using it. So if you are finding that, oh, my dog only does it if I show him the cookie, if I show him the treat, that means you have to go back to those 3 steps and make sure you aren't showing him the food. And dogs are smart. They figure out everything. They're so smart. That's one reason I don't really advocate or use one of those treat pouches, because the dogs figure out when I'm wearing the pouch, they're going to listen more than if I'm not wearing the pouch. So a lot of it is about keeping them guessing about when or where and what they're going to get. So they have to play the game all the time. I always say, you know, dog training is like gambling, except for you're the slot machine and the dog is the drunk tourist. And that's the best analogy I can give. It is that differential reinforcement. And that's what they say that makes gambling so addictive, is you don't know when or where or what you're going to get. So you got to sit there and you got to play the game each and every time, because you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get a penny. Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes you get a new car. Sometimes you get whatever. Okay. So yeah, dogs are crafty and they're smart and they figure it out. So if your dog is on to you, you have to be a little bit more sneakier. You have to be more self-aware of what your tells are. So you're gambling with your dog, you're playing poker, and what's your tell? You know, because your dog has got you figured out. Do you have food when you carry that treat bag? Oh, that's an easy one. Or do you have food when you hold your hand a certain way? You know, so we want to be self-aware so that we can start faking them out and keeping them guessing. Do you have food? Do you not have food? What kind of food do you have? What are they going to get? How much are they going to get? And then, of course, we talk about, you know, jackpot rewards, and the best responses get the best rewards. And there's a whole lot of nuances with this. But if your dog will only listen to you when you have food, you need to go back and look at how you are using the food and what your tells are, and be sneakier and go back to those 3 steps to get away from the food. So anyway, hope this helped. Hope it gave you some tips, and thanks for hanging out with me. Till next time, play with your dog.